Okay, we read Alfie the apostrophe, and he used magic to create contractions. Who recalls what a contraction is?
A contraction is a word with letters missing and an apostrophe instead.
Okay. Alfie also used magic to create possessives. Who can differentiate or tell me the difference between a contraction and a possessive?
Possessive indicates ownership.
Okay, right. A possessive means somebody owns something. How would you create a contraction?
Take a letter out and put an apostrophe in.
All right, good job. Now, contractions are usually made of 2 or more words. I want you all to take a minute and come up with some contractions, and then we'll look at them and we'll see if we can figure out what 2 words made them up. We saw a lot of contractions in Alfie the apostrophe. We also saw more in the contraction song that we looked at. So use those if you need to. All right, pencils down. Okay, who would like to share one of their contractions?
I'll share.
Sarah? Okay, I'll. Okay, what 2 words make up I'll?
I and will.
I will. Okay. Now, Micah, if you had I will, how would you make a contraction out of that?
Take out the W-I and put in an apostrophe.
All right, and there we have I'll. Okay. Micah, would you like to share a contraction now?
Should have.
Should have. Okay, what 2 words make should have?
Should have.
Okay. All right, Sarah, how would you make a contraction out of should have?
Erase the H and the A and put an apostrophe in their place.
Okay. Exactly. Who would like to share another contraction?
I can't.
Okay, can't. What 2 words make up can't?
Can but not.
Okay. Micah, how would you make a contraction out of cannot?
Erase one of the N's and the O.
Okay. Well, why would we take out one of the N's? Can you think of a reason why we might take out one of the N's?
Because there's 2 of them.
And there's 2 of them. How would you say if we just left the N's in? How would you say that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why we take out one of the N's, because there's already ends with an N, so we don't need another N. Okay. Any more contractions?
Wasn't.
Wasn't. Okay, what two words make up wasn't?
Was not.
Alright. And Sarah, how would you make a contraction out of was not?
Erase the N and the O and put an whoops. Erase the O and put an apostrophe.
Exactly right. Okay, now we've looked at quite a few contractions. Let's kind of analyze them and see if we can figure out something that they have in common. We had can't, wasn't, okay, what do you notice about these two contractions?
They don't like O's.
They don't like O's. So what could we use to help us figure out how to make a contraction for a word that has not?
Take out the O.
Take out the O. That's an easy rule. And we looked at a couple of other ones. Let's see. Sarah said I'll. Can you think of any other words that, or any other contractions that use will?
They'll.
She'll. You'll.
Okay, what do you notice about all these contractions?
Leave out the WI.
So if we were coming up with a rule for how to make a contraction out of will, what might be the rule?
Leave out the W and the I.
Yep.
And replace them with an apostrophe.
Okay. Okay, we've come up with a couple rules. Can you think of any other rules that might be helpful to making contractions? Like we had Micah said, should have. What might be the rule for making a contraction like that? Micah?
Take out the H and A and replace it with an apostrophe.
Are you kind of seeing a theme here? A lot of contractions, you take out the first two letters. Now, there's one contraction that I want to talk about because it's kind of tricky. Even grown-ups have trouble remembering it sometimes. What would be a contraction that we would make out of it is?
It's IT apostrophe S.
Okay. That's exactly how you would make the contraction. Now, there's another it's that confuses a lot of people. What does this it's mean?
It means that it's owned by somebody.
It means that it owns something, like its ball or its tree. How might you come up, what rule might you come up with to remember which it's to use in a sentence? Remember that a contraction stands for two words.
If it has an apostrophe, it means it is.
All right. So how would you use that to see if you're using the right it's in a sentence?
Well, if a sentence has, if it would make sense with it is, then it should have an apostrophe.
Right. If the sentence makes sense, when you say it is instead of it's, then you've used the right contraction. You've used the it's. Alright, we've kind of gone over quite a few different contractions. Who can kind of summarize what we've learned about contractions? Micah?
Take out unnecessary letters and put an apostrophe in their place.
Okay. Anything else?
Apostrophes don't mean that anyone owns them.
And contractions are also made of two words. Now, how would you construct a contraction from the two words? It's like we made it's out of it is. How did we do that?
By erasing an I and adding the apostrophe.
Okay. Now, say we had it's in a sentence and we wanted to make it into the two words that it was. How would we deconstruct that? Micah?
Take out the apostrophe and put in an I.
Yeah, we kind of do the reverse. We take out the letter, the apostrophe, and put the letter that we took out back in. Now, we also talked about when we know we're using the right contraction, the right word, it's, in a sentence. How do you evaluate whether or not you're using the right it's?
Evaluate.
How do you figure out if you're using the right it's in a sentence?
You read it is, and if it sounds right, that's what it is.
Now, does everybody feel comfortable with contractions now? I want you to show me 1, 2, 3 with your fingers. 1 means I don't got it. 2 means I'm getting it. 3 means I've got it. Okay, show me your fingers. All right. Excellent. You're getting it.